Eskridge, and this is my exhibit, Endless Party. And it is a common theme for me to paint outcasts. I've been doing animals for quite a while now, and I have, over the years, I've gravitated towards the unliked, the often even hated, the pests, what are some of these other derogatory terms for these wonderful animals. And it really stems from a little bit of my upbringing, or a lot of my upbringing, two phases there. One, with my dad as a veterinarian, we never purchased a single animal. We never went to a breeder or anything. We didn't. It was more out of because we didn't have to, because there were animals that were left at my dad's office. I'll get a little serious. I saw a lot working for my dad. Some not so great stuff. Wonderful things. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but humans can be often a little cruel at times. So I saw a lot of that. And back on track. So that was my first really experience into like this notion of rejected animals, forgotten, kicked to the wayside, these underappreciated animals. We took those in from time to time, and they were the best. They were the absolute best animals, pets, animal companions, whichever terminology you would prefer to use. And to this day, my wife over here, Marie, we are huge animal lovers, and we take in, we adopt. So that was the first kind of foray into that. And through the years, so I would do like pet portraits. I always wanted to be an artist when I was a kid, so that was not even negotiable. Went to art school and did all that good fun stuff. Happy that people are still doing that and pursuing that. So, not that you have to go to art school to be an artist, but that's fantastic. And so I did a lot of different genres, but I always came back to animals. And as I was doing pet portraits and stuff like that, and then I started doing, this was about maybe 10 years ago, I started doing bears. I was thinking more and more about the kind of misunderstood, maligned, stigmatized animals, and there were stories like hikers and this, that, and the other coming across grizzlies or black bears, and then the situation arises, and the bear is the one to be put down, or the coyote is the one to be put down, or whatever it may be, because they've interacted in unfortunate ways or whatever. But so there's this. I started thinking a lot about that, and so I was like, I really want to present these bears and doing these kind of serious portraits of these animals, and trying to bring light to their plight and to this notion of coexisting, how we can all coexist on this earth. That eventually gravitated towards even more towards I wanted to envision these animals having they're the uncool kids, they're the nerds, they're the geeks, they're the outcasts, and they get word of the popular kids, the cool kids party that's going on down the street, and they go to that, but they get turned away. So then they go and they start their own party. So this is really what this is all about. So they're like, and they have a much better time and more fun time because they have a more collective understanding for each other. So that really is, that was probably really long-winded, but that is the track for where we are today with my work. And I really, ultimately, as an artist, I've gone through a big stylistic and conceptual, rigmarole over the years. I stay focused within a series, but I go kind of crazy. I'm old enough to have done that now, to go into many different facets, but I really came to the decision, even more conceptually, that I really wanted people to smile when they see, for me personally, because it can be such a bummer sometimes when you're just like, oh man, you just burn the whole back cave because you don't understand what the deal, you don't understand. There'd be many things on this earth that would not be here if it weren't for bats. There'd be many things on this earth if it weren't for bears. There's so much more to learn about them and to accept them and to coexist. That's about it for the concept. My process, I'll be really quick about this. These are all acrylic. I go back and forth between acrylic and oil. I've been into acrylics lately because simply, really right now, just because they dry faster, and I like that I can work quicker. I'm a jittery guy. I like to work really fast, and I might work fast and then leave it there, come back to it. But when I'm in the studio, I'm focused and I'm on it. We have a 3-year-old. I'm a stay-at-home dad. So along with the process, some of y'all had questions about how you carve out time, and the only answer I can give you is always carry a sketchbook, and if you have 5 minutes, get that paintbrush wet or whatever. That's how I do it. I do have segmented times, but you never know. Life is full of interruptions, so you just got to make the time for what's important to you. It's tough, but it's awesome. It's fun. It's a thorn in the rose, you know. So, yeah. Any questions? Did I forget something about the bulletin outline that we were supposed to talk about?
I think you hit it all. And I'm loving this party. I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Outcast, make your own party. Thank you, Will.
How did you choose the element that goes with the animal?
I like that. Yes, it's a great question. So I started with, I think the first one was with donuts, right, Marie? There was a bat and a donut hovering over it. It was a slightly different series, but they were gold leaf, and that's why I pointed out the iconography, because I was into that. Like these old saints, they were painted as saints, and so it kind of stemmed from that. And the donut, honestly, I have a sweet tooth. And I love donuts. I don't eat them a lot, but I love them. I'm fiend for them. And bats are like kind of my number one outcast for me. Like they just really are, and they really had a really tough year because of this. So they're even more special to me now. So that was the initial thing, and then when I had done the gold leaf around the portrait of this bat, and the donut just formed this halo. And so that was really kind of, these, so then it kind of stemmed this do you feel cursed when you eat a donut, or are you blessed when you see a bat? This whole dichotomy of cursed, and who's cursed, who's blessed, lucky and unlucky, it goes down that kind of whole road. So that was really what stemmed all that, and then that just kind of opened up this door of confections. Did cupcakes, and there's one snake cake, which is a slice of a big old pink cake with a cream cheese icing and a snake swimming up to it. And it's just all this fun party fun stuff, pizza. I was thinking about pizza night, with that crested bat right there. That one's called Sheena. It was a pizza rocker. That's from a Ramon, takeoff on a Ramon song. Snake tape cassette. I was a child of the 80s, so I love mixtapes, cassette tapes. We played badminton at the beach. So that one's, funnily titled Crab Mitten. So yeah, it's really that. These are kind of more. Some of these are more kind of beach themed, but it really is you know, I could go into even more depth on like my memories as my growing up, what my childhood was like, what I sought after as a kid who had older siblings, so I always felt like an only kid, and I had some outcast issues and bullying stuff that happened to me younger, so these were like these kind of things that I look for. So there's plenty more in my head there's more paintings coming, you know, but yeah, it's a great question.
I have a question. Because it's not often that we get alone time anymore.
That's right.
And I just had this question that I haven't thought to ask you in a really long time. So this series, before you started this series, it was like this phase where you fell in love with each animal.
Yeah.
And you studied them, you dived face first into every animal, you read every book that's published about bats and bears and possums. And so it was this long process. And then you have these bursts of ideas with each animal, like tons of ideas, and you're constantly, like, Mead notebooks are full of all these ideas. How do you prioritize your ideas?
That's a good question, and it's going to be a tough one. I knew it was going to be a tough one.
How do you choose?
That's a great question, baby. I do. I have those composition notebooks. I really I know where everything is. There's an order in that chaos in these notebooks that I have and sketchbooks. And somehow it's OCD. It's a weird version of OCD. I just know where they are to logistically answer your question. I know where those things are that I'm looking for. Like I know where okay, I'm going to do bears and beers. That'll be fun. Bears and beers. Okay, well, am I going to do stouts? Am I going to do IPAs? And so I just go down. Like for instance, like I'm trying to think of with the beach pump stuff. There were some that didn't make the cut. I would write down. I write down before I even sketch. I write because the ideas come in my head of like a bat and a donut or a bat and old Polaroid 600 or whatever. And so I write that down before I even sketch it, and I imagine it in my head. And then it's like bat and a push-up. It's like, well, push-up is. Everybody knows what they are, but visually, I don't think it's going to make sense. You know what I mean? I'm trying to give something else that came to my head that just didn't make the cut. So it just goes down. Really, I start editing. I start going down I don't think that'll work. And I may come back to it later and try to work through it, but I know where everything is. I have a panda planner is my other thing.
I know.
Y'all heard of these? It's it stemmed from the bullet journaling, which I didn't take to, but anyway, it's a big old panda planner, and you have your goals for the day, for the week. It's very.
Yeah. You live a very structured life. Yeah.
I do. It's chaotic, but I do. I have. That's like the balance.
Just have endless amount of ideas.
This composition book and this panda planner because.
What do you mean by panda planner?
It's a brand name of this. It's like a date book, but it's a personal It's not like for me. It can be for me. It's like a glorified to-do list.
Okay.
So it's all they have it mine, the one I'm using.
This side is big.
Yeah, you can get smaller versions of it. You can get little pocket ones. It's awesome. They're great. I mean, and it's 3 things you're thankful for today. When you first wake up, you have 5 goals for that day, and you have a little page that has from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and you write down your little schedule. I don't fill it all out, I mean, it's definitely, that's one of the reviews for it was this thing stresses me out. I did that. So, but I do have a general the goals are the most important thing, and then you have your wins for that day, the 3 wins. So you have this kind of what do you call it, setting the mood for the day with your things you're thankful for, and then at the end of the day, you take 5 minutes. And you're like, what did I miss today? Oh man, Doc caught us all today. The trash mob opossum group on Facebook wants to use one of my images as their summer banner. That's a win. So it's things like that. It keeps you in check of not going down not getting off track or like, getting like kind of depressed, like I didn't do anything today or whatever it may be. It's really just, it's a real personal, but also business-ish. You can make it whatever you want to make it. And I set like 30 minutes at the beginning of the week to fill out my weekly schedule. So it might get interrupted, but I have 3 weeks for that week, 3 goals for that week, 3 goals for that week, that no matter what, if it comes Saturday at 10 p.m., those goals will have been done somehow, some way. So that's another kind of way that to make sure, I make sure I paint. I make sure if I have to stay up till 2 a.m. and Marie and Doc are in bed, and the next day is gonna kind of suck because I gotta get up, ish. Not as early as Marie, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's so you gotta. Panda Finder's the brand name of that thing to answer your question.
It's inspiring. I need one of these.
It's killer. It changed my life as far as that. Yeah, it's really helped me tremendously stay on track because I got.
So Panda has nothing to do with the animal.
No, it's a hilarious.
Yeah.
Ironic or coincidence or.
You'll have to do another series. It's not out
Okay,
there.
yeah. These pandas like.
Maybe the sales rep for the panda planner.
So, but yeah, great question. Yeah.
I might be a little biased on this too, because I've had your calling card on my wallet.
Oh, I thought I recognized you.
Yeah, at Abby's pop-up show.
Yes, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so I kind of been following your stuff since, and this seems like I like how you kind of wrapped it all in this stuff, but like I wanted to kind of go back to what you were saying about like the outcast and like kind of like an exploration of that as like part of your identity. Like, do you feel that at a certain point, like in your artistic career, that like that part of yourself started to show up in your work in like these somewhat, they're whimsical, but at the same time they're like deep rooted in like your childhood and your life experiences? Do you feel that these are like part of your, like an extension of your personality, and do you feel that using that sort of like vulnerability to like communicate who you are has like strengthened that identity and made you a little bit more confident with it?
100%. I can't really say it any better than what you just said, honestly. I mean, I do. You got it. I mean, that is exactly this, especially with this work. I feel like I really like. I feel like I'm in this, even though I've never done it, sensory deprivation thing. Like I feel like everything is like hovering just about right. There's a little bit of a wave, maybe, just so you feel a little bit between my identity as a person and what people get out of this, out of my work. Hopefully, get out of my work. But I mean, yeah, that's 100%. In agreement with that. Yeah, totally. I feel like this work I feel like it has made that whole, like found that my identity, but also my personality as, because I was like a class clown, and that's how I got through those years. I would make myself trip to get people to laugh at me instead of to punch me in the face. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like, I think that's why I ultimately wanted to want people to laugh and smile and think, what the hell, a donut over a bat? Like that's, or ice cream cone over an possum,
You've definitely made people laugh.
Good.
And a lot of happy people coming into this space, which is a welcome relief after the past year.
Yeah, good. I mean, Beth and I talked about that, and we had a previous series that was on board for it, and still proud of that series, but we were talking, and, has anything changed? I was like, well, yeah, I've gotten this other body of work that I think would just be a lot more fun, just coming out of this year, which is so rough for everybody, and and this was more current than the other body, so I'm glad that y'all were open, that we talked about it, and you were open for it.
Will's show was originally scheduled before
Oh, right.
the shutdown happened, and it was actually gonna be in a different space, so,
Yeah.
things changed, have to be resilient.
Gotta be like a coyote.
Yeah,
Gotta adapt.
yeah, nice.
They're one of the most adaptable. There's no coyotes in this show, but there are plenty of coyotes in my word. So, yeah, that was a great question.
And we can see more, like, you have a card, you have a really robust website.
Yeah, that's in my pen fire. Update website.
WillEskridgeArt.com.
WillEskridge.com.
Oh, just-
Yeah, or louderlove.art is just a redirect, but that was a little bit easier to remember. Louderlove.art. And, yeah. Rocking.
Thank you very much.